Yes, and now it's time for the main headline of this video and for me to get in my soapbox. So settle in, everybody. You're in for a very long rant from me. Let's see if my breath can keep you up. Questions have also been brought about this as a direct result of the FIA president, Mohammed Ben Sulayem, firing too many key and experienced FIA personnel for reasons ranging from he disliked them personally, he created a hostile work environment, and on occasion because of just a simple error. Now, since January 2022, when he officially took office, we have lost the following people. F1 race director Michael Masi, January 2022. FIA race director Eduardo Freitas, October 2022. The Secretary General for Motorsport, Charlotte Ann Rowe, in November 2022. The head of the Women in Motorsports Commission, Deborah Mayer, in December 2023. The sporting director, Steve Nielsen, December 2023. The F1 technical director, Tim Gloss, January 2024. The head of commercial legal affairs, Edward Floyd, February 2024. At exactly the same time, the governance and regulatory director, Pierre Ketter, February 24. Then, the chief executive officer, CEO, brand new role, Natalie Robin, resigned 18 months after taking office, May 24. The Director of Communications, Luke Skipper, October 24. Secretary General for Automobile Mobility and Tourism, Jacob Bagsgaard, October 24th. And now for November, all on the same day. The Compliance Officer, Paolo Barassi, November 2024. F1 Race Director, Niels Vittich. FIA Race Steward, Tim Mayer. F2 Race Director, Janet Tan. Janet Tan fired before even being F2 race director. That is 15 key people in the FIA fired. So, Kobe, bringing you back in on this one alongside Matt, how many more need to leave the FIA before we are in deep trouble? And why has Mohammed Ben Sulayem been allowed to have this much power, effectively turning the FIA into a dictatorship?
Josh, you asked me how many more people need to leave before we're in deep trouble. I think we're already in deep trouble. I think we are already there in many regards. I didn't realize that we've had 15 people from key positions, either get fired or, decide to leave on their own. This is truly remarkable, seeing this much turnover in the FIA. I don't remember what it was like under the leadership of Jean Todt, but I guess that was a good thing because I know Grid Network, we really just came on the air, like towards the end of Jean Todt's reign as the FIA president. But I have a feeling if we were on the air during his entire reign, we probably wouldn't have too many, stories to talk about with Jean Todt, because that's the type of leader you need, someone who isn't the story. But Mohammed Ben Sulayem, he's been nothing but the story. And one of the number one rules in journalism is that you should never be the story. And that's all Mohammed Ben Sulayem has done. He's been the story. We've talked about him many times on the show. I wish we didn't have to, but this is just the way we are. And I said this on the wrap-up show on Sunday, but I said I probably shouldn't use this word since it's such a strong word. I said that Sulayem is starting to act like a dictator in many regards, flexing his power and all of that. But when you really look at the whole situation, this is really what's going on. He's flexing his iron fist and he wants to show everybody that he's the boss. And he even tried to make a weird flex, a few days ago when he was saying like, "Hey, look what I done! I brought Cadillac into the sport." He said I had to go through hell and back to bring Cadillac into Formula One. So that's supposed to excuse, all the other things we have going on, where where the drivers are frustrated with how this is running. Then he basically, tell them that it's none of their business how he runs the FIA. And then use a weird excuse about, how people want to explain, like, why are these people leaving all on the same day, with Tim Mayer, Niels Vittich, and Janet Tan. Like, they want to know, like, why is there such a big shakeup going on this close at the end of the season? And he basically say, well, when you guys make changes to your team, you don't have to explain why you made those changes. So why should we at the FIAs? That's just extremely weird to me. But all in all, I do think the FIA is in trouble. I think, so, as I said on Sunday, I think Sulayem has definitely, torn apart the FIA internally. It's hurt its credibility and integrity. And all these people who are leaving these positions, I just have to ask myself, like, who is he installing, in these specific positions? Are all of these people going to be yes men to him? Are they going to be the ones, no matter what he does moving forward, they're just going to be like, yes, I totally agree with him. He is just doing this, he's doing absolutely everything correctly to a T, or these people, who are actually going to, stand up for what's going on, and looking at him having all this power, Josh. I don't really know. I guess people just really want, to obviously keep their jobs and have a paycheck because this is their livelihoods at stake. So I do understand, in some regards, why people would not, be more vocal and fight back against this, because at the same time, it could also be career suicide if you go up against the FIA president, because it might be hard for you to find another job in Formula One. It's just a real unfortunate situation that's going on right now. But yeah, I do think that, we are in trouble now because the FIA is not in a good place, no matter how you try to spin it. Even if you say, well, I brought Cadillac in as the next Formula One team and manufacturer.
Yeah, you're right, Kobe. We're in huge trouble here. How many more people do we have to lose before this all gets sorted out? The list is extensive, as Josh has just run through. To lose someone, no, let me rephrase that. To employ someone as a race director and have them not direct any races or even sessions before they're then removed from their post. What are we doing here? The season is too long. Too many people are stressed, tired, hungry, sleep deprived, to be forced to be put in these situations.
That's before they even check my sleep schedule.
Well, and then there's Josh. You mentioned John Todd, guys, and I've mentioned this before when we've kind of been on this subject in other shows. We didn't hear from John Todd when he was the FIA president. He just left the sport alone. He was too interested in getting his Nobel Peace Prize for road safety, which he didn't get, and he just left the sport alone. And now we're in a big. This is, first of all, let's hope we get through Abu Dhabi this weekend without penalty gates of any kind, without any more people being removed or deciding I've had enough. Because if this continues to happen this weekend and at the beginning of next year, Melbourne, through testing perhaps, first, the spring part of the year, I've got a feeling we're going to have a huge split going on. We've had the Andretti stuff. Now, granted, that was the other way around, of course. The FIA said yes. It was Formula One that was saying no. Now this is the FIA in trouble, who, of course, run the sport on behalf of Formula One. All these people that the FIA have let go or have left, if Formula One wanted to, do their own thing here with race control and governance of the sporting regulations, there's a bunch of people out there now looking for a job. We've seen in the 80s and the 70s splits before with the paddock and driver strikes, and we've had the George Russell letter and stuff that we talked about a few weeks ago from Brazil, and the penalty from qualifying, which we've not even talked about yet, the Verstappen-Russell qualifying penalty, which also is kind of part of this whole conversation as well. There's going to be a huge bomb go off, I feel like, in the springtime of next year, I would suggest. Maybe everyone will calm down over Christmas and New Year and into testing, and they'll have 5 minutes to take a step back and a break. But if MBS continues to throw his elbows around in race control, which he has no business in being in as the FIA president, then we've heard from the drivers. We're going to start hearing it from the teams. If this stuff goes on and these penalties continue to be handed out, another thing that needs, again, race stewards, not the same every week. If these stewards had been on the week before at Las Vegas, maybe we would have had Carlos Sainz get a penalty for not going, skipping the pit lane entry, and other things that happened during that race. But there is going to be a massive bomb go off if this continues to be a thing between the FIA and the teams and drivers.
It's just the beginning, I'm afraid. Many of you watching might have raised some eyebrows as we've been calling the president a dictator. Wait, we're still talking about the FIA, right? But yesterday, we learned that the FIA is seeking a rule change that would allow the president to handle any ethical complaints made against him, completely contradicting the word ethics. Now, BBC Sports chief F1 writer Andrew Benson has reported that the proposals come after a year in which the Ethics and Audit Committees investigated a number of allegations about the conduct of FIA President Mohammed Ben Sulayem. These included questions about the finances of Ben Sulayem's private office, the estimated $1.5 million, the President's Fund, to pay member clubs which vote for the FIA President. Neither of these were progressed. Now, on two separate allegations also that Ben Sulayem interfered in the operations of Grand Prix in 2023, which were dismissed. Those being removing Fernando Alonso's penalty at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix and the homologation of the FIA of the Las Vegas Street Circuit as well. Now, what this basically means and what it basically does is remove any chance of whistleblowers inside the FIA exposing any questionable behaviour. Now, if this does go ahead, then the FIA president can get away with anything as he will effectively become untouchable. We've already said it, but how scary is it that one man has been able to change this entire system to benefit himself? And where do you see the next 14 months going before a possible re-election for him, as he currently stands unopposed?
Well, I think I've kind of made my point clear on this already with what I answered previously. But this is just madness. If you don't like it, I'm the boss, there's the door, is basically what's going to be going on here. And he'll end up eventually running out of people and wondering what's happened. And then we won't have people to run the races for him and inflate his ego even more. If that's, I mean, the sphere at Las Vegas is big. I'm not sure it can hold the ego of MBS at the moment. It's just incredible. So again, let's get through Abu Dhabi this weekend. We've got Constructors' Championship still to fight for, let's not forget, between Ferrari and McLaren. Please, we've seen Abu Dhabi stuff happen before. Please, let's get through this weekend without any of that affecting that, because, again, the pylon will continue if we have more stuff going on. And I'd like to think that there's going to be a fair few people put their hands up once it comes round to voting time for there to be a change, just as you mentioned. But if there's pocketing going on, then maybe we'll see no change.
I just have to say one thing. After everything we've seen Mohammed Ben Sulayem do so far with the FIA to undermine the whole sanctioning body, like the next time we have a presidential election for a FIA president, like who in their right mind would consider re-electing this man to be the FIA president? Because everything we've seen talked about tonight, not just tonight, but over the last several months and over a year, well, a few years here on this show, guys, we've been talking about Mohammed Ben Sulayem for a very long time here at Grid Network. Like, who in their right mind would consider re-electing somebody like this? Because this is, it's really, really scary that basically the guardrails that are up right now to prevent an FIA president, from having too much power. This is basically something where he could, throw those guardrails away, where he can do whatever he wants. That means regardless, no matter how awful things that he could do, there's nothing that you could do about it, which, be really disheartening, because in every type of business, you need some guardrails up to get people from the top, to prevent people from the top from getting away with certain situations. And with those guardrails gone, there's no telling how much bigger Sulayem's ego is going to get. And that's definitely a path where we don't want to go down in the future. And in regards of who's going to challenge him at this point, you're like, somebody please run and see if you can try to unseat him. If he had any, dignity or grace, he just decide, hey, I just want to be a one-term FIA president, so I'm just going to, step aside and it's time for someone else. But I don't think he's that type of person. I think he's going to, he's going to maximize, every bit of power he can, and he's definitely going to go up for re-election. It doesn't matter if someone can find a solid candidate who can definitely beat him once all the votes are cast, so we can try to move in a different direction, because the direction we're going down right now is obviously not a good one at all. And really unsettling times for for Formula One and all of the races that the FIA sanctions.
The FIA, full of BS. We'll update you with the next FIA scandal after the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.